On March 3rd, 2026, a 2023 RAV4 rolled into my bay with just under 19,000 miles on the clock, and a customer who was absolutely certain his truck of a crossover was falling apart. Warning lights across the dash, cruise control dead, a pre-collision fault that would not clear, and a dealership 15 minutes down the road that had just told him something no Toyota owner ever wants to hear: your warranty claim is denied. He had not crashed it. He had not neglected it. He had done something far more common. He had spent about $400 on accessories he found online, and one of them, one single part that took 10 minutes to install, gave the dealer everything they needed to walk away from a repair bill that landed squarely in his lap. Today, I'm walking you through the 5 accessories I see doing real damage to Toyotas in my shop week after week. Not the boring stuff, not floor mats. I'm talking about the parts that brake systems Toyota spent millions engineering, the parts that turn safety features into liabilities, and yes, the one accessory, number 4 on this list, that hands the dealership a legitimate reason to void your powertrain warranty. And I'll tell you exactly why they can do it, even though federal law is supposed to protect you. I have been turning wrenches on Toyotas for over 20 years, and here is what I have learned about accessories. The problem is almost never the idea. The problem is that modern Toyotas are not the trucks and sedans of the 90s. Your RAV4, your Tacoma, your Camry, these are rolling computer networks wrapped in sheet metal. Dozens of modules talking to each other every second. Radar in the grille. Cameras behind the windshield, airbags folded into the seats themselves. When you bolt something onto a 1996 Corolla, you are bolting it onto metal. When you bolt something onto a 2024 Highlander, you are inserting yourself into a conversation between computers. And if that accessory says the wrong thing, the whole system starts making bad decisions. Let's start with number 1, because it's the most popular accessory on this list and the one people defend the hardest. Cheap LED headlight bulb conversions. You know the ones. $30, $40 for a pair, 10,000 lumens on the box, 5-minute install, and suddenly your Tacoma looks like it has factory LEDs. Here's what nobody tells you. Your halogen headlight housing is an optical instrument. The reflector behind that bulb was designed around one thing: the exact position and shape of a halogen filament, down to the millimeter. Light leaves that filament, hits the reflector, and gets focused into a precise beam pattern with a sharp cutoff so you can see the road without blinding the guy coming the other way. Now drop an LED bulb in there. The light does not come from a glowing filament anymore. It comes from flat diode chips mounted on the sides of a metal stick, in a slightly different position, radiating in a different pattern. The reflector does not know that. It keeps focusing light from a source that is not where it expects it to be. The result is scatter. You get a wall of light that looks incredibly bright from the driver's seat because a huge portion of it is bouncing uselessly into the sky, into oncoming traffic, and into the foreground 10 feet in front of your bumper. Meanwhile, the distance illumination you actually need at highway speed is often worse than the halogens you pulled out. You feel like you upgraded. You measurably downgraded. And that's before we talk about the cheap driver electronics flickering, throwing bulb-out warnings, and in some cases spraying electrical noise that interferes with your AM radio and even your keyless entry. If you want real LED lighting, buy a Toyota trim that comes with it, or buy a complete housing assembly engineered for LED lighting. A bulb swap into a halogen housing is not an upgrade, it's a downgrade with better marketing. Number 2 is the one that genuinely keeps me up at night: universal seat covers on seats with side airbags. Walk around your Toyota and look at the front seats. On the outboard side of the seat back, you'll find a small tag that says SRS or airbag. That means there is an inflatable charge folded inside that seat bolster designed to punch through a specific tear seam in the upholstery in a few milliseconds during a side impact. Toyota literally engineers straps inside the seat that direct the deployment energy toward that one seam. That's how precise this system is. Now stretch a $15 universal cover over it. A cover that is too thick, stretched too tight, or stitched with rigid reinforcement can absorb deployment energy, create resistance where there should not be any, or trap the gas flow entirely. Best case, the airbag deploys late or off target. Worst case, you have turned a protective system into a hazard sitting 6 inches from your ribs. Toyota's own guidance says not to use any seat cover that is not approved by Toyota. And here is the part that should really get your attention. Airbag, compatible on a product listing, is a marketing claim, not a regulated term. Anyone can print it. If you want covers, buy ones designed for your exact seat with a proper deployment seam on the airbag side, or accept a little wear on the factory fabric. Upholstery is replaceable. Your torso is not. Number 3. Bull bars and brush guards that sit in front of your sensors. I get it. On a Tacoma or a 4Runner, a bull bar looks right. But think about what lies behind your Toyota's grille and bumper now. The radar unit for Toyota Safety Sense, that's your dynamic cruise control and your pre-collision braking, plus parking sensors on a lot of trims. Radar works by sending a signal out and reading what bounces back. Now park a steel hoop directly in its line of sight. A bull bar sitting in front of that sensor interferes with its operation, causing inaccurate readings or complete failure. In my shop, that shows up 3 ways. Trucks that brake for ghosts on the highway because the radar keeps seeing its own bull bar. Trucks where the pre-collision system just shuts itself off with a fault, meaning the safety feature you paid for silently stops existing. And the sneakiest one, trucks that can't be recalibrated after unrelated repairs. I've read a case of a Tundra hybrid owner whose truck cascaded into airbag, lane assist, cruise, and even HVAC faults after a single sensor failed, and the dealer couldn't calibrate anything after installing the replacement, and pointed at the bull bar as the suspect, even though it had been dealer recommended and dealer installed. That's the modern reality. Everything is integrated, almost in series, like old Christmas lights. To be fair, and I always want to be fair, this is a solvable problem. Reputable manufacturers build sensor cutouts into their bumpers and guards specifically so you can keep your parking sensors and cameras working. The accessory to avoid is the $90 universal bar with no sensor provisions bolted on by someone who never checked where the radar sits. Before you buy any front-end protection for a TSS-equipped Toyota, confirm it was designed around your sensors. If the listing does not mention them, that silence is your answer. Which brings us to number 4, the plug-in performance chip. This is the one that voids warranties, and I want to explain exactly how, because the internet has taught everyone half of the truth and the missing half is the expensive part. The half you know. Under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, simply installing an aftermarket part does not void your warranty. That is real federal law, on the books, since 1975. A dealer cannot deny a claim just because you have aftermarket parts on the vehicle. They must prove the specific part caused the specific failure. Your cold air intake does not void your paint warranty. Your seat covers do not void your transmission warranty. So far, so good. Here's the half nobody reads. The manufacturer absolutely can deny the claim if they can prove the aftermarket part caused or contributed to the failure. And a tuning device that alters how your engine runs is the one accessory that is practically designed to hand them that proof. These cheap plug-in chips, the ones promising 30 horsepower for $100, work by intercepting sensor signals and lying to your engine control unit, telling it the intake air is colder than it is, or the boost is lower than it is. So the computer adds fuel and timing it was never calibrated to add. Your Toyota's engine management was developed over thousands of hours to keep combustion inside safe limits for the life of the engine. The chip's entire job is to push past those limits, and your engine control unit remembers. Even piggyback devices that never touch the factory software leave a trail, fueling corrections and readings outside factory parameters. And when a mechanical failure happens, technicians pull the freeze frame data stored at the moment of the fault. If that data shows conditions that are physically impossible on a stock engine, the manufacturer can successfully argue a tuning device was present and deny the claim. Pulling the chip out before your service appointment doesn't erase the data it already wrote. So understand what you're actually buying with that chip. At best, a placebo that remaps your throttle pedal so the car feels faster while making no real power. At worst, leaner combustion, hotter exhaust, extra stress on pistons, and catalytic converter on an engine whose repair bill you have now volunteered to pay yourself. If you genuinely want more power, buy the trim or the truck that makes it from the factory with a warranty that covers every one of those horses. And number 5, the cheap aftermarket alarm and remote start kit. This one earns its spot not because of what it is, but because of how it gets installed. A $100 remote start from an online marketplace does not plug into anything. It gets spliced directly into your ignition wiring, your door lock circuits, your immobilizer system. Every one of those splices is a future corrosion point, a future intermittent fault, a future no start at the worst possible moment. And here's the diagnostic nightmare. When that Camry comes to me 8 years later with electrical gremlins, dash lights flickering, battery mysteriously draining overnight, security system randomly triggering, I'm not diagnosing a Toyota anymore. I'm diagnosing somebody's Tuesday afternoon wiring job taped up under the dash with no diagram in existence. Modern Toyotas already have excellent factory security and, on most recent models, remote start through the app or an official accessory installed with proper connectors and documented integration. The moment someone starts cutting factory harness wires to add convenience features, the reliability that made you buy a Toyota in the first place starts leaking out through those splices. Now, the honest caveat. Because I promised you I'd never turn this channel into fear content. None of this means accessories are bad. I run quality parts on my own trucks. The pattern across all 5 of these isn't aftermarket equals danger. It's that each of these products either fights the engineering of the vehicle or gets installed in a way that ignores it. LED housings designed for LEDs are great. LED bulbs jammed into halogen optics are not. Seat covers with engineered deployment seams are fine. Universal stretch covers over airbags are not. Bumpers built around your sensors work. Blind steel in front of your radar does not. And there's a world of difference between a properly integrated accessory and a device whose entire function is deceiving your engine computer. The dividing line is always the same question. Did the person who made this part know and care what's underneath it? So before you click buy on any accessory, do the 3 things I'd do. Find the SRS tags and sensor locations on your specific model. Check whether the product page mentions your safety systems by name. Real manufacturers brag about compatibility, and cheap ones stay quiet. And if a product's main promise is more power from a plug, remember that your warranty is worth more than 30 imaginary horsepower. If this saved you from a purchase you were about to make, hit that like button so it reaches the next Toyota owner with a full online shopping cart. Subscribe if you want the knowledge that keeps your Toyota running the way Toyota built it to run. And drop a comment telling me the worst accessory you've ever installed or inherited from a previous owner, because I guarantee the stories in that comment section will save somebody hundreds of dollars. The most expensive accessory isn't the one you buy. It's the one that costs you the systems your truck came with.